2021 VW Golf GTI, the 8th generation of the hot hatch that started it all. It's built on a whole new platform, it's more powerful than the car it replaces, and the interior is better than ever. But that's just what you and me, petrolheads, want to hear, because the reality is quite different, unfortunately. This new Mark 8 Golf GTI uses the same MQB platform as the old one. It uses the same engine as the Mark 7 with a few small tweaks here and there. It produces the same 245 horsepower, and you've guessed it, the 0 to 100 kilometers per hour acceleration time is pretty much the same. Unfortunately, on the inside is where things start to really fall apart, because for some reason VW's engineers decided to remove all physical buttons, right, and replace them with touch sensitive areas. And this is what you have to do in order to use the climate control of this car. Swipe on this part over here in order to increase the temperature on this side, and then swipe to the left in order to decrease it. And they are not lit up at night, so good luck trying to find them when you're driving at night. Yeah. Okay, so fun fact, do you know how many steps you need to take in order to turn the ESC off in this car? Something you would want to do in a hot hatch, right? Well, let me just show you, because they removed the ESC dedicated button from over here somewhere, and they've moved it to a sub menu. So I'm listening to the radio now. I have to go to the main menu, tap on vehicle, and then swipe to the right, tap the brakes button, and here we are. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but to me that's overkill. Last but not least, the digital instrument cluster, which I like quite a lot, especially this GTI dedicated screen over here. I think it's great. You have the rev counter in the middle. These ones you can change to whatever you like. Let me show you. There's a bunch of variants to choose from, right? Same goes for the one on the right. And I think this is a pretty cool display, and it sets it apart from the regular Golf. Having said that, I don't think everything's all bad about the Mark 8 Golf GTI. For example, I think I'm in the minority here when I say that I actually like the exterior design of this car. I like the aggressive front end it has. I like these LED fog lights over here. I think they're really cool, and they make a great impression at night. And even in the back, I mean, the side profile is what it is. It's a Golf. You'll never mistake it for something else. I kind of like the wheel design, but not that much. But look at the back of the car. They made the two tailpipes be even wider apart, and that gives the car a more aggressive stance. It looks like it's a bit wider than before. But yeah, let's drive this thing and see what it's all about. Although this is a nice car to drive, it feels to me like Volkswagen didn't really try with this one. I mean, have a look at Ford, Renault, Honda, and even BMW. All of these manufacturers will offer you something similar for the same money, but with more hot hatchery included. Volkswagen got its mojo back with the Mark 5 GTI. They made a great update with the Mark 6, and if you ask me, they reached peak GTI with the 7 and 7.5 GTIs. I mean, to me, that era of Golf GTI is the best they've ever made. I mean, they've launched the Clubsport, the fantastic Clubsport S, and the quite awesome TCRs. And even the performance variant was a very good car to drive. I remember driving one with a manual transmission, and it was lovely. But with this Mark 8 GTI, It feels to me like this is a car they had to make and not a car that they really wanted to make. Now don't get me wrong, this is a good handling car, it's quite fun to drive even in conditions like this. It's got decent pace and this 7-speed DSG transmission is excellent. But I'm struggling to find something new about this car, because to me it feels like the old one with different exterior styling and questionable interior ergonomics. Also, as a side note, if you're planning to buy one of these, you might want to get the version with the adaptive dampers, because the standard dampers, the ones that are fitted to this car, are a bit jiggly. But what I was expecting from this MK8 GTI was to build upon the quite excellent Mark 7.5 TCR. Now that was a really great car, I loved it. Properly fast on a B-road, excellent throttle response, sharp handling, but at the same time, once you put everything into comfort mode, it became an excellent day-to-day car. To be fair, right after the launch of the standard MK8 GTI, VW also released a Clubsport variant of this car, and that's supposed to handle better, it's faster and so on, but the press cars haven't arrived in Sweden yet, so I can't tell you anything about it. But based on the praise it's got from the international press, I'd say if you really want a GTI to have fun with, wait for that one. So then, if the Clubsport is the one to have if you want a fun GTI, then what's the point of this base variant? Why haven't VW just scrapped it and replaced it with this? This is the 2021 Golf GTE. It has the same power output as a Golf GTI, but because this is a hybrid, it features a 1.4 liter engine, 4-cylinder petrol engine at the front, and it also features a 110 electric motor, and combined they produce, like I've said, the same power as the GTI. You can also drive this car around 70 kilometers in electric mode alone, VW claims, but I highly doubt you can do that in real life. But in the last 7 days of me testing this car, I actually found that you can manage around 50 kilometers if you fully charge the battery up. And because this is a plug-in hybrid, you can also charge the battery by driving the car and by plugging it into a socket. Design-wise, as you can probably see, the new 2021 GTE is very similar to the GTI. It has the same front bumper with that grille over there, even though it doesn't have those cool LED fog lights over here, but I think you can spec them on the car. It also has the same LED strip running from one headlight to the other. This has blue accents because it's a hybrid, of course. On the side, as you can see, this car also features 18-inch alloys. It has the same side skirts as the GTI, but the biggest design difference between this GTE and the GTI is the rear bumper, because this car features the standard back bumper from a regular Golf. On the inside, there's nothing new to report because this car is basically identical design-wise and tech-wise with the GTI. It even has the same accents on the dashboard, the honeycomb accents. It's got the same big infotainment system. It's got the same steering wheel, but with blue accents because, yeah, hybrid, that's why. And it even has its own custom GTE instrument cluster display, which is quite cool if you ask me. Now, of course, because this is a hybrid car, you have a few more settings to play with in the driving modes. Yeah, this is where you switch between driving in electric mode alone, driving in hybrid, and here you set the charge level of the battery, which basically means that the higher you go up on this setting, the more the engine is going to charge the battery, and so on. This has more driving modes than the GTI because this has the adaptive dampers, of course, right? There's eco mode, comfort mode, sport mode, and individual. It doesn't feel too different to drive either. It's quick, it handles well, but it's a bit quieter, obviously, because it doesn't have the fancy GTI exhaust. But honestly, I've driven these two cars back to back. I literally took the GTI back to VW and picked up this car, and it's quite difficult to tell these two cars apart when you're driving. It's not surprising, however, to me, this fact, because the new Golf GTE shares its underpinnings with the Cupra Leon and the Skoda Octavia RS. Yep, the former siblings of the Golf GTI ditched the 2-liter in favor of this hybrid setup over here, and that's another reason why I'm puzzled as to why VW hasn't done the same. The GTI was always hailed as the best all-around hot hatch money could buy, but if you ask me, this GTE is even better, because you can do the school run and go to the shops in electric mode, but on your way back home you can take your favorite B-road and pull all of these 245 horses to work. But unfortunately, the GTE also has quite a big problem. The base price of the Golf GTI, at least in Sweden, is around 34,000 euros, and the base price of this car is around 42. Spec the GTI with the DSG transmission, which this one has standard, and a few other optional extras that come as standard on the GTE, like those fancy lights and the navigation system, the big one, and you're looking at a price difference of around 6,000 euros. Yeah, you can say that this car is a hybrid and it has a smaller engine than the GTI, so you're gonna pay less taxes and you're gonna spend less money on fuel, but still the price difference is quite big. So I don't know, I hate being all negative, but if I were looking for a hot hatch in 2021, I'd skip both of these two cars and I'd just buy a Type R. But that's been it for today's video, my friends. I really hope you've enjoyed it. Please give it a thumbs up if you have, and make sure to subscribe for plenty more videos to come. And until next time, take good care of yourselves, and I'll see you around.